The real mental health issue might actually be the Republican Party. There is a new piece in the New Republic by Michael Tomasky called "The Main Mental Health Issue in This Country is in the Republican Party." And this piece makes a number of really good points. One of the points that the piece makes, and I encourage you to read it, is that red states allocate way less money for treating mental illness than do blue states. And in fact, if you look at a map, and we're putting such a map up on the screen, you can see that generally speaking, red states are much lighter colored, meaning they devote a much smaller share of their budgets towards mental health treatment. That we know. And so at a baseline level, this is a bad start. When you look back at the last many years, there has really only been one major expansion of mental health spending and coverage, and it's called the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. Remember, Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act are the same thing. I know it's wild that I have to mention that, but I do. And Republicans regularly vote against all other attempts, as I've talked about with Greg Abbott, or we will talk about with Greg Abbott, as I talked about with Congressman Tony Gonzalez. Republicans regularly vote against attempts to increase funding and increase access to mental health treatment. So at a core level, when we say mental health, mental illness, red states are disproportionately underfunded when it comes to access. So it's a perfectly logical conclusion. You've got more Republicans than Democrats in red states. Red states have lower funding for mental health treatment. Increasingly, mental illness, you would expect, would skew towards being a Republican problem. To be clear, it doesn't mean at all that there aren't millions of lefties and Democrats, et cetera, who struggle with mental illness. But when you look at access and treatment and funding, it's going to skew as a bigger problem to the right. But it's more than that. The problem in terms of mental health isn't just health care. It's also about economic care. We know about the crushing effect on one's mood and cognitive state and mental health status of being unable to take time off from work when you need it, of knowing that you're going to be able to just pay your basic bills, of feeling like there's no economic opportunity where you are. And when you look at all of these different things, when you look at right-wing economic policy versus left-wing economic policy, the economic realities of red states, we know, are much more negatively impactful on mental health and sort of the state of one's mood than those economic policies in blue-leaning states. Again, these are averages. We're talking generally. Now, there's another layer, which Tomasky doesn't talk about in the piece, which I want to add, which is when we talk about a lot of these right-wing ideas, they sound almost what we might call mentally ill. Now, I want to be really careful. We may not literally mean mentally ill in all of these cases. OK, we're not stigmatizing mental illness. We're also not using it as an insult. But when you hear the idea, give teachers guns and have them defend classrooms, it sounds like what you would say is an insane idea. It's disconnected from reality. Only someone who has something wrong, either significant ignorance or some kind of mental disturbance, would suggest, because it doesn't make any sense. And we can go further. There was a recent poll, 20% or more of the Republican Party believes at least some QAnon conspiracies. Okay, is it literally diagnostic mental illness? No, it's not. But a lot of this ideology borders on people who are having some kind of block where they're not connected to the real world. There's a delusional nature to it. After the 2020 election, 57% of Trump voters believed that Trump won. Trump didn't win. Joe Biden won. Joe Biden easily won the popular vote. Joe Biden easily won the electoral vote. No one state would have changed that of the states that were in play. Trump didn't win. Trump lost. And yet 57% of his voters believed that he had won. At some point, we have to say, well, there's a delusional nature to it. Is it diagnostically delusional? Well, that you'd have to examine everybody, and mental health professionals would have to make the call. But when we talk about mental health, the fact that they're saying, well, just fix shootings by dealing with mental health rather than guns. Well, at the micro level, they vote against doing that all the time. They don't want to fund mental health treatment. They don't want to do any of it. But when we say it's a mental illness problem, what are we really saying? And when you step back and look at the state of American politics, and you look at where access to mental health treatment is funded, and you look at the delusional nature of a lot of these ideas, again, I know I always use this example. We're not talking about a difference as to whether the top tax rate should be 20%, 35%, or 50%. Okay, this is a different thing. We're talking about something that is fundamentally delusional. And you need only look at the NRA convention. You need to only look at the so-called suggestions that they're coming up with to deal with the gun violence issue to see that. So I'm not diagnosing anybody. I'm not stigmatizing mental illness, and I'm not ridiculing mental illness. I'm also not using the term mental illness as a cudgel to attack people with. But I am pointing out that when we talk about mental illness broadly, we really have to dig into what is happening state by state to understand the implications of, number one, not properly funding dealing with mental health issues, and number two, pointing to them in some vague way when we blame shootings, but then all of a sudden we can't say, hey, half of the ideas associated with Trumpism are delusional, colloquially. I'm sort of at a loss for words to go further, but I'm very curious to hear from you. What do you think? Find me on Twitter at @DPacman. And remember that Tuesday, June 14th at 6 p.m., we'll be doing our next David Pakman Show viewer town hall. It will be streaming live exclusively on the Pakman Live YouTube channel. That's our second YouTube channel. Subscribe there, and we're very much looking forward to that next town hall.